bronche, that's how we say brunch.
Here's to the ladies who say basic with their lunch.
You want that bochinche?
Sáquete con pinche, you know what they said?
Not too busy, glasses clinking.
Aquí en esta mesa se respeta como ñón.
Si la copa está llena, yo te doy la bendición.
So what if we get ratchet?
We from the Bronx.
That's it.
Don't get it twisted.
We be going to Manhattan. Be a queen.
Be a boss.
Ladies who brunch and poppin' off.
Hey, we pop and pop it off. We pop.
All right. The episode's about to start.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Ladies Who Bronche. I am Julissa.
What's good, everybody? This is Skittles.
And this week, repping Florida today? Or repping the Bronx today?
No, we're up in New York.
Repping New York.
All right, repping New York. Repping New York.
Latinos on the East Coast.
All right, repping East Coast Latinos.
Yes.
Our radio queen, ya tu sabes, JAYLAH. Who the fuck are you?
What's up? It's your girl.
Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Give us all. I want you to give us the whole spiel.
spiel?
Yeah, give it to us right now.
Because I was going to say I like tacos too. No. So I am a Costa Rican, Salvadorian radio personality, model, mom, daughter, friend.
Bad bitch.
Event manager.
Lady who brunches.
Like, you name it, and I'm here for it. Let's get to work.
Yeah,
corresponding, blogging, social media, comedy skits, whatever gets the bills paid.
That's right.
Yes. And it's so funny how we all met. We all met at Hispanicize 2019. We were just, kikiing or whatever. And you just so happened to just be moving to New York.
I literally look like the bag lady in LA.
Yeah.
I look crazy coming into LA. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go present this award and I'm nominated. I'm going over there. I'm not missing this weekend just because I have to change my whole life and move to New York for ever and leave my kid behind. No, I'm just going to go look like the bag lady, like the crazy bag lady with my coats and all my jackets to go to LA and just have one tiny dress to wear. But yeah, I packed up 4 maletas and I just went to LA and crashed with one of my friends.
Wow.
And then I had to be in New York to start my show by Monday.
Yeah.
So, and Hispanicize was till basically Sunday.
Yeah, it was till Sunday night.
And then I got here, landed at JFK, and my friends were like, let's go brunch. I was like,
bitch, right away.
Well, all right, I guess, with my maletas, is there a coat check for this?
Yes, just start it off
Make it
right.
happen.
Start it off your time right.
New York City, city of dreams. So tell us a little bit about where your love for, because you do, like you listed, you do a whole lot of shit, but where did your passion for, because I think of our mediums as storytelling, right? Whether we're creating it beforehand or we're doing it in the moment, we're telling stories and we're connecting with people. Where did your love for storytelling and connection come from?
Honestly, I think the older I get, the more my daddy issues come out. Mm-hmm. This being said, I think that my original connection to what is music, what got me into radio, what got me into all of that has been the culture. A lot of it is, especially with my dad. My mom and dad are very different people. I feel like that's why I relate so much to Dominicans, because I feel like in Costa Rica, we're the Central American Dominicans.
Right.
We like to party the same and drink the same and compartir con familia the same. There's a lot of similarities, whether it's dancing or, I remember growing up hearing my dad tell me stories about how him and my aunt used to go to dance competitions together, and they would be partners, and they would do salsa and cumbia and old school, music. And my uncle was always a dancer, so a lot of my family, we grew up with the house parties. We grew up with the comidas and the marisco on the day after New Year because everybody was hungover. And the kids be having to hide in the room, and I'd be the one, because I was one of the older cousins in the second set of generation. So I'd be I wanted to be with the adults, but I also wanted to be with my little cousins. They didn't call me Angelica Pickles for no reason.
Yes, Angelica Pickles.
I was the older prima. I was y'all doing what I say. Okay, you're gonna be Ken. You're gonna be Ken, and we're playing Barbies. But I grew up with a lot of that bilingual culture. My parents being Central American, again, my mom was super strict. She's the baby of 8 on the Salvadorian side, and they all live down the street. They're all very, very Central American.
Yeah.
You know, my mom it was weird for them because my mom married out of her country, you know, so her marrying a Costa Rican, even though he's Central American, was horrible. God forbid dating out of color, dating out of race. Like, it's just, it's a lot, and it's very real. So I grew up very mixed cultural. And I feel like that's why, for me, even though I was born in New York, I was born in Long Island, my parents took me to Florida very quickly. And they very much tried to keep me away and protect me from all of this. But my life and soul...
That seems like the story. I feel like I have cousins that have that same story. Not to cut you off. Keep going. I'm sorry.
and it's not, again, it's part of, I feel like, it's part of what they thought were breaking cycles at their time. Just like for us, breaking cycles is doing the mixed race, is being exclusive, is being loving to all. Doesn't matter what gender, what this, who you like, who sexually you like. You know, you know, I had my husband, literally my ex-husband, throw out my life to my parents. He outed me.
Wow.
You know, and that... I don't feel like that's fair, and a lot of it had to do more, you know, there's a lot of things in my career. I would be a lot farther if I didn't have the morals, ethics, and foundations that I do have. As I get older, I try to shake them off. But I was telling somebody on my life today, yo, my mom be yelling at me. She be looking at my IG, and the next morning be like, yo te dije que por eso estás enferma, por eso estás cansada, ¿verdad? Porque usted no para. You drink, you go here, you never stop, you never rest, you ta-ta-ta-ta-ta. And it's always like, yeah. But those are, again, it's part of the learning process. It's part of life. It's part of growth. It's part of even... being and understanding self-love, you know, and figuring out kind of how to navigate through all of that. And for me, it's always been weird because of my Central Americanism. I've never really fit in because I grew up with Colombians. I grew up, you know, then I gravitated towards Dominicans, but then they would look at me and be like, why do you sound Dominican, but you're not Dominican, you're a fake Dominican? And I was like, I'm not trying to be fake nothing, but it's the one thing I can relate to.
Right.
And a lot of people just can't understand fitting in when you're out of culture. Especially because I do not relate to a lot of my, like, even my own people, because I didn't grow up necessarily that way. I did grow up with so many cultures. My godparents are Colombian. Yeah. You know, I have other people that I grew up, my best friend's Brazilian. Like, you know, like,
damn, you
where
just the whole...
live, where I live, there was Brazilians, Colombians, and we would do international festivals, and that's where I learned about Dominicans. That's where I learned about this. A Colombian man taught me how to dance bachata. Imagínate eso.
Wow, yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And bachata is my favorite genre, and I dance it, and I throw down, and I've thrown down with the best of them.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like, I've been called fake a lot. I've been called, oh, you're this, or you act like you're that. And I don't act like anything. I am who I am because I have been it's like having a caldero and just throwing all of that shit.
All the good shit.
All of it. All of it. You
shit.
throw adobo, you throw carne, you throw pollo, you que aquí, que allá, que tarara. And I feel like for me, that's who I am. I'm a Latina. Yes, I'm very proud of my Costa Rican culture. Yes, I'm extremely proud of my Salvadorian culture. I talk about all of it. Yes. But I'm also proud of all of my other Latinos because I feel that in a weird way, we've all struggled in similar ways in just different like love languages.
Yes. Oof. Listen, you are preaching to something that I often talk about. So like I didn't have that much of a spread in the diaspora in terms of like engaging it necessarily often, but like from my dad's side of the family, one of his cousins had married a Colombian dude, and so every time it was their daughter's birthday and we'd be at the birthday parties, it was a lot more Colombiano than it was Dominican, and that was because that cousin was like, always felt like Dominicans were less classy than los Colombianos, so it'd be like, okay, we're around los Colombianos, get in line.
Like,
yeah,
and
you know.
Very like this. And again, that's why I feel like I'm very Dominicanized. Like all of the guys I dated, except for my ex-husband, was Dominican.
Girl, how'd you manage? Because I can't with Dominican.
I'm gonna be very, very, very honest with you. It's one word and one word only. Masochista.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm convinced.
Why I went straight to the dick.
Right.
I went straight to the dick. I was like, it's the dick.
Again, that's that's part of being a masochista.
Right, that's just part of
like,
it. Yeah,
be real.
No, it's true. But like, no, but so what I'm saying essentially is that like we as Latinos, we have so many commonalities, and it's like to the rest of the world, they think, oh, you speak Spanish, boop, you're all the same thing, and they blanket us. But amongst each other, there's so many layers and colors, and we don't often have the opportunity to really dig deep and learn more about each other's culture and the love and the nuances in that. And I think as a New Yorker, I'm privileged. I say that all the time.
Absolutely.
When I go to LA, especially, I'm like, holy shit, why do I keep having to just explain what a Dominican is? That makes no sense to me. It actually freaks me out when people say, oh, would you ever move to LA? Like, you know, big dream, blah, blah, blah. Big dream of what? To be out there like isolated?
Everybody, you know what everybody tells me? You're Salvadorian. They love you out here. I'm like, yeah, but that's that culture, that West Coast, that they're completely different culture than we are in the East Coast.
Yes.
We are, I don't care who you could live in Queens and Jackson Heights and live in the most Colombian spot in the world. You could live in the Bronx in the most Dominican spot in the world. You can live in El Barrio and have the most Puerto Rican spot in the world. But at the end of the day, you have always been exposed to other people.
Yep.
Always.
Yep.
And we take that very much for granted as New Yorkers.
Yeah. Yes,
because
we do.
I'm telling you, as a Floridian, where I grew up, there was not that exposure.
Yeah.
There was not that. That's why I feel like I always gravitated towards New York.
Yeah.
Because I will tell JAYLAH was created and reborn in New York. Period. This is where I was born. I was born in New York. I developed my self-love. I developed my wanting to break cycles. I developed my dream of wanting and feeling like you can actually do more.
Yes.
This is the only place in the world I feel you can walk out of a dirty ass, pissed, rat-infested subway
Word.
and walk out into a ball of energy.
Yeah.
Go to a restaurant, a bar, a deli down the street, and that one person you met in line paying for it can change your entire life.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Or you get the energy you never thought you expected or needed after a really crappy day.
Yeah.
You don't know. This is the city of magic. This is literally adult Disney World.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. You know,
It's funny. Like, I feel like
Thank
being
you.
people that grew up here, like, me and Julissa have a certain, I definitely have that love for New York, and being from here, you have a love for New York, but hearing it so like articulated from someone who was here and then left is like, it brings a certain appreciation.
This is literally, I feel like my third time's a charm because I've been back and forth since 2012. And I was here, I just moved back 4 months ago. I was here before that from August of 2018 until May of 2019, where I finally threw up the white flag and I was like, I can't do this. I was actually working Lyft in New Jersey.
girl, no way.
After 10 years of 11 years of being in this game, not being in a space, being in a state of depression, being in a state where my energy was so shitty, I couldn't even attract a job. And I was interviewing with the best of the best. I'm talking about the best companies in this world where I was flabbergasted. But the depression, the mental health, the separation, the divorce, the being a single mom, the going through all of this and feeling so alone and feeling so hurt and only wanting something so bad that I couldn't attain. That it wasn't right, and I finally threw the white flag up. Unfortunately, after going through some domestic violence in January of 2019, and it was very life-changing for so many reasons. I was already separated from that person. I was already living a separate life. They chased me. It was so toxic, and I just felt like I couldn't get out of it. And when I finally had to set that reset button,
Right.
Wow.
and it wasn't about me at that time. At that time, my daughter had seen all of that.
Your daughter,
And she was 3 years old. And to have to take her home and give, essentially, showing my parents they were right. Like, you know, everybody wants me to be in Florida. I own my house in Florida. I've had a house for 12 years. I have no reason to be struggling paying rent in New York City.
Right. Right.
I have a car in Florida that's sitting there that I still got to pay for.
Yeah.
I have a mortgage. I have that. I have my family down the street that will take care of my daughter. And why? I'm, again, masochista. I want to come and live my dream.
Yeah.
I want to break those cycles. I want to take that American dream that my parents came to these countries for to the next level.
Yep.
My dad hates his job. Every day he wakes up saying how much he hates his job, but he loves the money it makes him to provide for his family. And you know what? You know what's crazy? That my job now is to do what I love to do every day, but pay my bills, get that mortgage,
Right.
pay that college, get that trust fund started.
Hell yeah. Trust fund.
Trust fund.
That's what I
I'm
want.
trying to have trust from
I
big.
grew up in Boca Raton, Florida. All my friends, all the girls in my class were little Brittany,
Little Brittany.
Little Brittany switching her hair over here, talk about their trust funds and how they don't need nothing. The first Hummer ever on the street was in my high school. My high school for a 16-year-old. Their BMWs, their Mercedes, things I have not yet even come close to.
Right, right,
And I'm here fighting for different priorities.
right.
Instead of getting that Porsche, I'm going to go get that house.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody's going to see my asset, but I know what I've worked for.
Right. Girl, let me tell you something. Woo, first of all, you deserve
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a lady who brunches.
right. A lady who
A lady who fucking does everything.
and thank you so much for sharing all of that, because I do think, and we'll talk about this a little later, but sometimes people see the positions or where you've come and they meet you like at the middle of the mountain or the top of the mountain of a specific journey, and they're like, oh yeah, you had it all, it came easy, and they perceive you to be the little Britneys and stuff that, you know, you grew up around, and you're like, no, do you understand?
Thanks,
though?
social media.
Right, social media.
It's a love and hate, but right now we live in and I've been saying this for at least 3 years, solid. The last 3 years have been an unfortunate series of events of perception.
Yes.
People's perceptions of what people's lives are. I've heard some of the most successful, hardworking, amazing, I wish I would have their live individuals. And to hear them say, I haven't done this, or I haven't been this happy in this amount of years, or I haven't, like, don't believe what you see. Like, it really is real.
Yeah.
The perception game right now is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's really sucks because I feel like it takes away from a lot of the work that people have been doing.
Right. Right. Yeah. No, it's difficult. Perception is not always reality.
Definitely not.
All right, JAYLAH. So when you out with the girls at brunch and shit, what's your choice beverage? What are you drinking?
I'm not gonna lie. So I have 2 drinks, and one is safer than the other.
Okay.
The second one probably gets me in the most trouble of them all.
Okay.
So I'm not your normal girl. I love mimosas. They're all cute and dandy and bubbly.
Right.
But let's be real.
It's juice.
It's juice. It's like beer. I don't drink beer. It gets me gassy.
Right.
I don't like all that.
Right.
I like to get straight to the point, and I like to get saucy.
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna be safe, if I'm trying to like last a little longer, I feel like a man trying to take Viagra.
If you're pacing yourself,
If I'm pacing myself, it's going to be some Jameson straight on the rocks with
for brunch.
With limon, and you can throw a little champagne in there too. It makes it bubbly.
You know what it is?
I drink like a man. I'm sorry.
I think that's what it is. It's like I feel like Jameson seems so strong for like brunch, but if that's what you're doing, I want to do it too. So fuck it up.
You know
We will
why?
not
Because
make it
you
to the
can make
meal.
it like you
We're
can
not gonna
do
make it to the
Jameson with like passion fruit juice and some limon. The limon kills the harshness of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I put limon in everything. If you can, like, literally my first request when I get like you're asking for a bottle, like forget the bottle. Get me a cup of limon, and then whatever bottle you get me, that will work.
Right.
Like I will make it work.
Right.
So
right,
for me,
right.
limon is like my like weapon of choice.
Yes.
Limon
Smart
is
girl.
my key. It's my secret. Like if my drink doesn't have a limon in it, I am not okay.
Yeah.
Something is wrong. If I don't have a limon in my drink, it's like today is an exception to the
Right,
rule.
sorry.
Okay,
I
my
didn't
bad.
know. Yeah, I'm sitting here like, shit, where's the limon at?
Don't play, because normally I bring my own limon. That's right. No, and then I do really, really, really like passion fruit honey mimosas.
Ooh, I've never had that.
Really?
That sounds
Does that still have
delicious.
champagne in it?
A dash. It has like a sprinkle. So like
Just for
the
bubbles.
champagne is like the ginger ale.
Right.
So like, you know, if you were like have honey and ginger.
Right.
So you do the champagne. And then you mostly do like passion fruit, and then you add like a drip of limon, and you're good to go.
That's
Okay.
lit. I
That's
like
one of
that.
my like
Definitely
mommies and
gotta try
mimosas type of vibes.
Okay, yeah, no, we're gonna have to try that. We're gonna have to try that.
That's
Yes.
All right,
that's the JAYLAH. That's the
That's the
JAYLAH mimosa.
Yeah, if we're sipping our JAYLAH mimosas, which we definitely have to get like the ingredients and do a little
Yeah.
like thing for
Taste
our-
testers?
Yes.
Taste testers. I want to try that.
You know
I've
the- you know what
never
the
been like a
problem
big honey
is?
person, but like I could fuck with honey in the right combination.
That's how I made my daughter. A whole lot of Hennessy. Thank you, Uptown. Thank you,
Yes,
the Bronx.
Uptown.
Yep.
All day.
Thank you, honey. That's why I have a beautiful 5-year-old now.
There you go.
So we have our honey mimosas. What are you choosing to drink? What is your go-to
Eat.
brunch plate?
Eat.
You said what eat?
Eat.
Too much.
Actually, my favorite brunch meal, like now that I think about it, because I've been to a lot of brunches, and every time I go to a brunch, like I'm always like, I'm going to eat this. And then I always end up with the same thing. Huevos rancheros.
Huevos rancheros.
I love that's
That's a
the
good
central.
choice.
That
It's
is
a
the
good
Central
choice.
American side of me, because it's like una tostada, tiene frijoles, un queso, con like un huevo, like el queso encima,
Yes.
aguacate. Like it's
Yes.
a mix of like literally all my worlds.
Yes.
And if you're doing like, especially if you're going uptown, it doesn't taste like a regular Central American one.
Right.
It tastes like some like Dominican.
I was just about to say,
like
'cause the
huevo
Dominicans
ranchero.
go
Like,
in-
I got like all the
Yeah.
best worlds in one.
Yes.
So huevos rancheros is my go-to.
I love that. So, tell us a little bit about what it was like going out to eat when you were a kid.
Special occasions is the first thing that comes to mind.
Always, yeah.
Because that's the only time we would really go out to eat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was
I spilled my drink. I'm
and
sorry. No, I have to say it because
I was- no,
the
I know.
camera
I
was watching
spilled
it
it.
happen.
I spilled it in. Spilled it in. Guys.
I'm like party fouling in the corner. I felt bad because the conversation's happening, and
I
like,
literally
you-
see all
you
I see behind
me
you is
like,
Skittles doing.
Isn't that the worst when it happens in front of a really cute boy, though? You'll be like acting tough, like, I got this drink.
Yeah, that's me.
Trying to
I'm
be cute.
clumsy.
No, babe.
Yeah.
No, you ain't cute. My experiences actually, and it's really funny because I have a really fond love for. I remember growing up. So my dad is super Costa Rican, which means he cannot have any of his food without rice.
He's
But-
like a Dominican.
But here's the catch: white rice doesn't count.
Oh,
What? It has to be
No.
yellow?
I'm not talking about Latino white rice. I'm talking about white people rice. We was not allowed.
I was like, wait, it always has to be yellow?
because it
No. If I were to tell him, yo, papi, pero a Fridays,
oh no,
you know, Applebee's tienen arroz, he'd be like, ese arroz de gringo, de que viene en una bolsa, usted está loca. So our options always kind of really went from like Spanish food to like Chinese food.
wow,
Because it had rice.
right.
So like one of the biggest issues we always had was like, you know, we'd be leaving church or we'd be doing like, I think we finally found a medium ground, like
Right.
a middle ground. And it was Chili's.
Wow.
And it was after his stomach surgery. And that
Now
was
I
like his middle
weirdly
ground.
want to go to Chili's and order rice.
No, because he didn't eat rice at that point now anymore.
Oh.
We were having some fajitas or fajitas.
Fajitas?
Fajitas.
Vaginas.
Because, you know, that's how they would order it. Some fajitas at Chili's. But actually, you know, now that we've gotten older and we kind of settled the piece on that. Because I remember at one point where it was like, Chinese food for fulanita. I did a huge, I don't tell people this often because I feel very un-Latina.
Uh-oh.
I did a protest for 5 years when I was younger because my dad would only like to eat red meat and rice, Latino rice. So we could not go anywhere that didn't have that.
He wouldn't eat chicken?
No, like for him, it was just like él quería carne, él quería bistec, churrasco, T-bone. Like, él quería carne. My dad's a manly man.
Right.
So, of course, me being the masochista rebel that I am, totally protested. So I was like, I didn't eat rice for 5 years.
Wow.
No rice. 0 rice.
Wow.
And I had no red meat. So I'm very much accustomed to only fish, turkey, and chicken.
Yeah.
And even like because I'm Salvadorian, it wasn't hard for me because for us, our alternative is tortillas. I grew up watching my grandparents only eat con tortillas.
Yeah.
Even they would eat their arroz con tortilla. Like they would like scoop up the rice with the tortilla. My abuelo would sit there as I like sat there and cried while I put my feet up because the chickens were running on the floor. And I have such a bird phobia that he'd be scooping up and I'd be like, yo, he's not even using a fork. What a G.
Wow.
Yo.
That's some real shit.
You know, so
Honestly.
like I'm very used to eating with my hand. Like I'm very like handsy.
Yes.
Might not always be a good thing with some.
Yeah.
It might not be a good thing with some Henny and your
Like the
system.
Addams family.
I mean, that might be the best thing, like, in my opinion. I'm just trying to say, like, this Jameson is getting me. I think this might be the drunkest I've ever been on a Ladies Who
Don't say that. It's fine. Mind you, we've only had 2 drinks. Let me at least put this out there.
But 2 like drinks.
Like,
Drinks.
tragos.
Tragos.
Bitch, tragos.
Play tragos.
All right. So, what is your favorite bochincha topic to talk about over a meal?
Boys.
Always.
I
Let's get into it.
will always say this. Man, my dad is the love of my life. But in the same token, and we were talking about this off air kind of a little bit, like spirits and like past lives and stuff like that. I'm truly like, literally like my dad is the love of my life. Like I truly like, he's my everything. I can't even imagine being without him.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we've both separately been told that we've been together in past lives.
Aww.
So like I've been his mom, he's now my dad.
Wow.
We've been together in a relationship.
Wow.
And the fact that he loves my daughter the way he does, I get so jealous to another point, to another level,
Wow.
where I literally fight my kid.
Wow.
Like we are like, yo, I'm like, can you let me talk to my dad? Like I'm in New York. Like I miss you both, but like
Let me talk to
that's
him.
my dad and you're my daughter and I love you both, but like
Separate. Yeah.
stop it. And they love each other so much that it's so beautiful and hurtful at the same time. I'm like, Daddy, love me. You know, like, but it's a good thing. Like, I'm really happy. I'm very blessed that I have that.
Right.
You know, and like, even like I told you guys earlier, you know, my ex-husband tried to out me. So he told my family, he sent my mom a picture of me and another girl kissing.
Wow.
Like, it was so
Oh,
bad.
wow. You meant out like that?
What you thought she meant out?
Yeah, no,
I thought you
and
meant
I
out
don't talk
in
about
terms
it.
of
No,
like...
and I don't
thought you
talk
meant-
about it
yeah.
often. I think, and I don't do it not because I'm ashamed of who I am, because the people who are very close to me
Know who you are, yeah.
They're very...
Almost too much, Dike. Almost too much.
That's why I drink JMO and Henny, depending on the evening.
Wow.
But certain things do certain situations. And even when I met my ex-husband, he knew that. Mm-hmm. But I've always, again, been so respectful, and I put other people's feelings in front of my own.
Yeah.
My daughters, my ex-husbands. Even now, we're not together, and it's not... Yo, I can't stand him, but I still have to respect him as the father of my daughter, and that's really difficult to have to navigate through. Mm-hmm. You know, it's difficult to navigate through 2 completely different sets of parents. You know, it's traditions, parents, people. situations, what people perceive of you in the industry. You know, so it's like, it's hard. Like, do I smoke hookah on camera? Do I put out that I like girls? I, you know, do my recreational activities there? Do I drink too much? I have people hit me up today, big plus male models, be like, yo, I love when you're lit because there's a side of you and a spirit of you that comes out that we don't get to see very often. Yeah. And that's really hard because I hide that from my family. Yeah. Because I don't want them to hurt. I don't want them to think that I'm disrespecting their people, their legacy, that last name. Yeah. And it's really, really, really hard to pick and choose what battles I'm okay with. Yeah. Girl. Because at the end of the day, there's sometimes I just want to be like, bueno, it's my life. Let me be me.
Yep. Listen, and I truly, truly relate to that. I think that, like, just as Latinas, like, there's often times where you are put in the position where you have to carry the name or the tradition on your back. And, like, that generational shit, it's like, so we both, all three of us fuck with Vida, spiritual shout out to Readings by Vida. You know, and like, as she's working on some shit for me right now, thank you. So, like, I, like, with her, I've been trying to really unlearn a lot of that shit because I'm very, like, ride or die when it comes to things that have to be. Like, I'm a rebel, but at the same time, if there's a structure that I believe needs to be upheld, I get very anal about upholding that shit. So I totally, totally relate to that. But I want to circle back, you know, to talking about the boys, because even in, like, my relationship with how I am as a straight woman, like, this feeling of, like, oh, talking about dick and sucking this and doing that and da-da, like, it feels like it's a dishonor, but to my family. But then when I look at the larger world, I'm like, pero Julissa, girls in the world need girls like you to be that bold and to be able to it's not turning your back on your family, but being able to say, family, you need to trust and believe that what you gave me is the platform that's building for me to do this thing. It's not a topic you care for, and it's not something that is within your taste, but those tools that you gave me to be the powerful bitch that I am is what I'm going to do so that generations later on don't have to worry about esa vergüenza. It shouldn't be vergüenza, right? Yeah. But somebody has to step out. But it's such a challenge because I say that now, but in the moment, like, if my mom was sitting in this room the whole time we've been here, you think I would have said something about dick once?
Never. No.
Once I wouldn't even said the word dick.
And I think it's part of, like,
my mother and where I don't. And that's why her watching my IG, sometimes I'm like, well, it's a catch, like, literally it's like a catch-22. Yeah. I feel like I'm teaching her in a way.
Right.
Yes.
Without having to tell her face to face. Yeah. But at the same time, it's still a certain level of disrespect to her. Right. Yeah. Like, right now, my grandma died almost, it'll be 2 years around my birthday. And she died the day before my birthday. Ugh. No, the day after my birthday. She waited for me to have my birthday. And I love you, Nana, and I'm so, like, I've never missed her more than I miss her now. And I know what in my Salvadorian life, what that means. They don't even wear colors. Wow. For years. Wow. Because it's disrespectful to mourn in color. Wow. And here I am. They don't listen to music. They don't wear color. Wow. They don't do certain things. They go to novenas. They go every 6 months. Like, they have their traditions. That I think they're beautiful traditions. And I give them a lot of respect for even fulfilling those traditions in the type of world that we live in right now. Yeah. And it's, where do I fight in that in-between of wanting to keep them and then being realistic with, man, that's not who I am. Right. Because I wanted literally to do the complete opposite. Yeah. I wanted to go get drunk and lit and party and dance and celebrate my grandma. Right. But to them, that's disrespect. Right. Ugh. So how do you find those middle grounds in that tradition? You know, there's going to have to be a day that I have to tell my daughter, like, hey, baby, your mom, as much as most 80, I will say 70%, I'm straight. 30, I'm very bi. And then the other side of me, I'm fighting my tradition. So where do you find that balance for you to be you?
Yeah.
But how do I get that open-minded for you, fighting my own traditions, who I actually am, whether I can come to terms with that person or not, because it's hard coming to terms with that person. It's hard having to tell the people in your life how real you really are. Like, I literally looked at my dad. My dad, and I'm probably going to regret saying this, but my dad had to look at me and said, hey, I did X, Y, and Z. I'm sorry for hurting you guys.
Right.
And I had to look at him and say, listen, you're the love of my life. I love you. I am hurt by what you did to us. Pero this is also who I am.
Right.
And then to get, like, I understand you. And he's like, how do you understand me? I'm like, well, if you're telling me that this is your issue, you're telling me, este tu vicio.
Right.
And here I am saying, like, damn, I really understand.
Right.
I really get that like, I get why you think women are so beautiful and gorgeous and you're attracted and you're this and you're that. And it's really hard to have to come in that middle ground with all of that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, are you betraying your mother? Are you betraying your father? Who are you? Are you betraying yourself as a human being? But this is really all about breaking those cycles.
Yep.
And it's really scary. You know, I've said it before, and it's really scary. This is the first time I think I've ever said this publicly, where I've had little situations and niches where I've realized that my daughter could probably go the other way. And how am I going to teach my family? Me and her will navigate through this smoothly.
Right, smooth,
I have no problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about that. It's about changing and breaking cycles in our community, in our family, in our world.
Yeah. Girl.
And I've had to say that. I remember the first time I walked out of a bathroom with my daughter at Disney World, and my daughter goes, I said, ¿Qué pasó? Like, are you okay? Mama. I said, what? She's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And as a woman, I felt that.
Yeah.
And those are things we're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah. Yep.
You can't talk about that. I can't talk about that with my family. I can't talk about that with my mother. I can talk about it in a platform, but even then, you're so scared to talk about it because people automatically, perception.
Yep. They put you in a box that means all these things, and then that's what you are. Ooh, cycles.
Breaking cycles.
Breaking
That's literally been my life goal since my daughter was born.
Yeah. No, and it for a lot of us, like parents, non-parents, all sorts of things, we have to fight for it for the future period, whether it's somebody in your lineage or just the better health of the overall world. So, yeah, girl.
All right, so now we're going to move into the Cheers to Ladies Who, where we shout out dope people doing dope shit. And this week, I wanted to just shout out Hair Love for winning Best Animated Short at the Oscars for a couple of reasons. Number one, the short was amazing, and it's super important for all the youngins to see.
I cried my ass off.
As a single mom, I'm all about daddy loving their girls.
Oh, that shit was so cute.
That's like a little, like, poke me in my heart.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, yeah. You want my panties to drop? Be a good daddy.
Right. Literally. Be a good daddy. And it's like, bam.
Be a good daddy. I'll be a good girl.
Or you're a bad girl, whichever one.
All right. And he was a good dad. Completely tarnishing the damn animated short that was for children.
How do you think? Wait. How do you think children are made?
Also, you know damn well that dad, if he was a real dad in real life, he would be sexy as fuck. Come on. With them dreads and his flip-flops with his socks.
The dad in the cartoon, well, yeah, that dad would be hot. But, like, the dad kind of looked like the guy who was the Matthew A. Cherry. Which I thought it was crazy how he was the next athlete to win that Oscar behind Kobe Bryant. who wanted 2 years ago.
R.I.P. For real. So shout out to
shout out to
Matthew,
Hair
Sherry,
Love.
the
Shout out to
whole
Matthew,
team.
DeAndre.
More of this.
Yes.
More
We
of
Need
this.
it. Yes,
We need it.
absolutely for our kids. They need it. The
Absolutely.
future needs it. Nieces, nephews, kids, godkids.
All right, and now we're moving into our Tuta Loca Es moment where we shout out motherfuckers for doing the most. Camron.
I was about to say, hopefully it wasn't me.
No, you're not the motherfucker
I'm not
doing the
trying
most.
to do-
You doing enough. You doing enough.
I don't know. It was Fashion Week this past weekend, so I'd be doing the most.
Listen. Camron went on his IG and was talking about, how he understands how women like to use Dove soap for their pussy because it's all soft and delicate, which, by the way, you're not supposed to use Dove soap on your
Wait.
pussy.
My question is, so he's talking about non-Latinas, right?
Right, because we be...
My mom got me set to like Summer's Eve,
La
and my
Misol.
extra Latina friends, my Dominican sisters, are always
Misol.
like Limesol.
Yeah.
So if I need an extra fresh minty refreshment. Limassol is where we're going. Summer's Eve is on like that casual date night type thing.
Does that work with buttholes too?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, they're
try
cleaners.
it.
But, and it's so funny because...
the Limassol will have it tinkling extra fresh.
Really?
No. Lima, I'm convinced.
Might it burn your asshole, though? I've never put that on my asshole.
Oh, see,
But,
all right.
but doesn't
if
it
you have,
tingle
an
your
infected asshole,
let's
I
be
don't
real.
have
Don't
asshole.
be a mentirosa.
I'm not- no.
Tingles your vagina.
Here's
though.
the thing. So I used it, I think twice in my life, and then I went once when
it?
I was young. Here's the real story.
Yo,
Here's the real
every
tea.
time I find Limassol at my friend's house, I'm
It's-
using it.
Yo, here's the thing. So when I was younger, right? First,
feel mad bad shit.
I am no. Okay. Real talk.
That doesn't happen in Costa Rica. We don't got no Limassol in Costa Rica.
Real talk, in my you go to my cousin's houses in DR, it's there. Actually, I'm pretty sure there's one at my mom's house and all that shit. When I was younger, I thought, I don't know what, I didn't understand my vagina. I didn't understand discharge. There was a lot of stuff going on. But I remember when the gynecologist said not to use those perfumed things because they're not good for your vagina, blah, 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 blah.
I use the extra sensitive Summer's Eve because I grew up in Boca Raton, Florida, and my mom said that that's what we were supposed to use.
Yeah, no, and it's so funny because vaginal cleaning, there's so many
Even
rules
though they
and all
actually
this
say
stuff.
that it's actually bad for you.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
but
they say
I
it's
actually
bad
feel
for you.
like if I don't use it, it's worse.
You know what I like to
And
use?
not in a bad. Oh, that sounded bad. I'm sorry.
No. No.
I just don't feel clean if I don't use it. I think it's such a habit. It's like
It's a habit.
my
It's a
it's like my
habitual thing.
skincare routine. It's like my makeup routine.
Right.
It's like my my face.
I've never had a separate routine for my asshole, and now I feel like I
You
need to
douche.
step my
What are you talking
fucking
about? You don't have
Go
a routine
get
for your
some
asshole.
I
lemon
You
douche, but I don't have a special
Well,
soap that I
motherfucker,
can
but
use
her
to keep
douching
it
You
on.
was
can't
bad
stick
too.
everything up your asshole. Sometimes that shit stings, is what I'm telling
All
you.
right, but what I'm saying is because you know how they have those
Can't you
special
just
scrubs
smoke
now
a
that give
cigarette
it
and it just all comes out?
wow.
Because people, no, because
No.
I learned that in the Bronx.
I know that thing. I'm just saying, wow,
We ain't editing shit.
nah.
I learned that one in the Bronx. Smoking
Listen.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna.
Smoking Newport.
I'm just saying. I never had a special
And a
soap
cup
for
of
my
coffee.
asshole, and I know that they're coming out with these scrubs, and I just want my pussy to taste as good as the pussy that's out there.
Well, let me just say,
If worst comes to worst,
If
worst comes to worst, because in 2020 we're doing all spiritual, clean.
yes.
shedding
You can just
pussy.
You could go straight for the pineapple.
Yeah, no, pineapple.
All over.
Oh yeah.
Pineapple goes front and back.
Yeah.
However, we shouting out Camron because Camron was talking about.
We are not on topic.
Dove soap.
So wait,
Shout out to Dove soap because I actually really like Dove
I
soap.
fuck with Dove, but I don't put it on my pussy. And,
No.
And here's the thing, just quick side notes for all.
I was gonna say something really did.
Right? Because that's not to say that you can't use shit like that on
You can wash your hair with it.
Yeah, this okay.
Top hair, bottom hair,
This
all
is-
types of hair.
But this is what I'm saying.
you just
because
don't put it inside of there.
your vulva area is the sensitive area where you want to make sure that no soap and shit goes
that's what
into.
I'm saying.
Pero the crevices between your mulo and your pussy
No,
and all
and
that
you
stuff,
can wash
you can
the
clean that
hair.
with any type of soap.
Yo,
yeah.
listen, some of us like to be semi-natural, semi.
Right.
I'm saying there's
Right.
limited versions of
Right.
that. There's different days, situations, men,
You catch-
people, and that
Right.
you get a different type of that.
Seasons, yeah.
I'm
You
just
catch me on a
saying.
lazy day, you gonna get some stubble.
I'm being
Cameron,
real.
I think that the problem was when you started getting weight specific.
Right,
all
so that's
This is
because it
where-
wasn't
this
even
is
about
where-
pussy, right? Because
It
it's
was
about
when you started
underarms.
getting weight
Listen.
specific. All right?
Listen, I'm gonna say it right here, right now. I used to be 275 pounds, and never once was Dove soap down there. Number
Come
one.
on.
Number one.
Number two.
Talk your shit.
Number two,
Talk your
we
shit.
knew better and we knew what products we
To
needed to
use,
use. For
right.
you to assume that the right people are not doing the right things in the right situations, you're stereotyping and generalizing the people that should not be doing there. And I literally was 275 pounds. I remember when my first boyfriend, his friend was like, we love Jay. She's like one of our best friends. But she's fat. Are you really gonna date her?
Wow.
And it was like so
y'all.
like really, and
Yeah.
it was like I always made sure that I was good. Like you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and
because
none of
you
that
become
routine-
self-conscious.
Actually talking on that, making
And
sure that I
none
when I
of the
was growing
routine
up, I
has
would
ever
always say,
changed.
I would always say as like a fat person that I never wanted to be the person that stayed.
Stank.
Yeah.
To this
Because
day
like to be fat and stink
is the worst.
is the worst
It's
thing in the
totally,
world.
and and as a person, I feel like at that caliber, like you kind of know your own odors. I know it
Yes.
sounds really weird
Nope,
to say,
nope.
but
Yes,
this is
you
a
do.
realistic conversation. I was 275 pounds. Like I was the happiest at that time, but I also never stank. Mm-hmm. I had the best hygiene. Like
Right.
I'm confused as into like
Where that comes from.
Like
Because-
I really am, because I remember having my skincare routine, my body odor routine, my shaving routine, my brush teething routine.
Brush teething.
Like your clothing routine. Like there's just like routines there's levels to this.
There's levels to this
Like you
shit.
gotta make sure that every like little crevice is like
It's
even your belly
Thank
button.
you.
Your belly
Like,
button
what-
had a routine.
What you gonna do
You
with
wash your
all
little
that
belly
junk?
button. You
all
cute
that junk up in your trunk.
No.
And so I don't appreciate to sort of like wrap this because exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Camron, you can't just be saying shit like that because it hurts girls' feelings, right?
It hurts-
to
it
that
hurts,
yeah. all of
Not
it.
even- not
you-
gender specific.
No,
I don't
no,
like
you
you
know,
like
on this
you,
show, Lady is
Camron.
Universal.
Yeah.
It hurts people's feelings. And he was talking about girls specifically in the moment, which is what I mean, right? It hurts their feelings. We already, as big women, have these fears and like are actually doing the most, actually too much at some point, right? To avoid comments like yours and for you to say some shit like, oh, you need something stronger. Oh, and your underarms, especially if you're 175.
No,
My nigga, 175?
He did not say 175. He said 140 to 150.
Yeah.
And
And
I'm
that's not
a
even
good.
big.
I was at 150 depressed. Like.
Yeah.
Not even 5 months ago. I'm a healthy 175 right now. And like everybody's like, yo, you lost mad weight. Damn, you look good. Damn, your ass looks great.
Yeah.
I gained 30 pounds.
Right. But
So, Cameron, your numbers are wrong.
You're wrong.
Sorry, my friend.
And you can never get no pussy
And
like
I love
this.
you.
Fuck outta
Love
here.
Dipset. I'm all about
That's
it.
a fact.
But,
That's a fact.
But
Yeah.
respect is given where respect is earned. And right,
Right.
now, that's not okay,
I ain't
my friend.
fucking with it. So you stay 10 feet away from my pussy, nigga. Fuck out of here. All right.
I'll bring you a bottle of lemon soda for all your friends.
Right. We won't keep one in stock in your apartment.
I definitely want to taste that. Oh my god.
All right. So now we're at our plate of the day, the journey of self-love. Ooh. Namaste, right? So I feel like we've pretty much been talking about this, right? Because self-love, first of all, 2020 like has come in with such a force, and all of 2019 there was a lot of shedding seasons. I think started in
Absolutely.
September, and it's been like this crazy journey. And I know definitely in my life there's been a lot of like roller coasters, and I've always prided myself in being a person who's had their shit together, and if I don't have my shit.
At least Dike had their shit.
Or at least
Dike.
we
look like it.
Right. And then like the thing is that I was so good at presenting to have my shit together that I started to believe in my own head that the
we
way
had
in
our
which
shit-
I was managing my life had my shit together until the universe, I'm telling you, in the end of 2020 and even still now, because it's like, oh, me está dando cocotazo. It's like, bitch, I thought I touched you. Boop. I thought I taught you. Boop. I thought, and it's not. And I think that has a lot to do. They say, again, going back to Vida always says, elevation requires separation, right? And so the more that I am elevating in whatever elements, and I've had a lot of blessings come my way, the more that in the separation, I have things that are pulling at my legs and don't want to see me win.
Well, I think a lot of it's not even pulling at that. I think a lot of it is a lot of our own ego. It's also a lot of our own persona.
Oh, big time, yes.
Because we're a creature of habits.
Yes.
And as Latinos, we have these habits that we just can't seem to break. And we can't seem to break those cycles, those habits, those situations that... and I tell my dad this, like when we have our really deep conversations, I tell my brother this, like, man, like you keep telling me the same story again. Like, what is it in that lesson that you're not learning? That God keeps trying to teach you that lesson over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
It's very real.
Yeah.
And people don't want to understand that. It's like, if you keep falling on the same block, like if you keep falling on the same street step, like if you keep missing that same step, why? Like, take a step back. It's not the universe. It's not God. It's not the people around you. It's you.
It's you. Yep.
You don't want to learn that lesson. God has been trying to tell you, God, the universe, your spirits, your people, your guidance, your spirit animals. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter. They're trying to teach you.
Right.
And at some point,
porque eres tu masoquita.
Yeah. And at some point, they're going to stop. I feel like,
and you know what? And I actually I'll counter that. I don't think they ever stop. I think that, ego versus...
You're going to keep pulling that rug from under your feet until you learn that damn lesson.
I was going to say, what happens is that our egos sometimes get big enough where we convince ourselves, you know what I mean? Like, we're abandoned, we're lost, like, they're not going to teach me the lesson anymore because they've already given up on me. And that's shit we tell ourselves because if they've given up on us, then that's it. And so we don't have to pick ourselves back up anymore because even the spirits or God or whatever you believe in has given up on us. And that's not true.
Like, I see it with him, like hurting with the pain with his mother, the pain with his brother, the pain with the family in general, where it's like, I'm strong, I'm independent, I got this, fuck you guys. But then you run back, you hurt.
Right.
They love, like, you want their love, you want their acceptance, you want them to be there with you, and they just can't be.
Right.
And it's really hard because, again, as Latinos, we're just kind of like generalized to have to be connected to every single member of our family.
Rib by rib.
Like every single one, every primo, every fucked up cousin, every tia with a problem. I'm the first one to say, like, I love my mother. Like, my mother... my dad is the love of my life, and my mother has been the best wife, mother, parental there's ever been on this planet. She's taken us everywhere from trips to getting donuts to going to the library to being a real mother of what a mother should be. But there's also a side of me that will always know that I will never be her.
Yeah.
And I have to be very real about it.
Right.
Her relationship with my father, what she's tolerated as a woman, what she's gone through as a mother, even some of the disrespectful ass shit I've sent as her kid.
Right. Right.
As a mom, now that I'm a mom, I'm like, damn, how did my mom even deal with that?
Right.
And I realistically, and it's funny because my mom is barely 5'1", like she's barely 5 feet. She's 4'11".
Wow.
She's blanquita as ever, like milky white.
Yeah.
Salvadorian. And I've always said I don't ever want to be like my mother. And she's an amazing, phenomenal woman. I just don't feel like I could ever do to par to who she was.
Yeah.
As a woman that cooks and cleans and slaves over her family and her kids and her husband and her job and works and is independent. And that was too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those cycles are those those situations where I'm like, yo no quiero ser así. And it's funny because God says, joke's on you, bitch.
Exactly. Bing boom, like my mom
Why?
says.
Because now my daughter,
Yeah.
I'm 5'8". I'm darker than my mother. Am I dark enough? No, I'm still white.
Yeah.
But my daughter, guess what? She's definitely 3 shades darker than me.
Yeah.
And the doctor already told me my daughter's going to be 6 feet, 6'1".
Wow, she's gonna be
Everything I couldn't have done in my own modeling career.
Yeah.
Her dad's 6'5".
Yeah.
I'm 5'8".
Yeah. She's got it. She ain't gonna be short.
So literally, I ended up everything I didn't want to be, which was the opposite of my mom. Short and pale.
So JAYLAH, so tell me a little bit. So definitely it sounds like we have generational cycles that we feed into. How have you sort of fought for your journey of self-love? You shared a little bit about some of the things that you've had to deal with in your past, and none of what you have accomplished would have happened if there wasn't a way in which you were fighting for yourself and for what you wanted every day. What are some of the techniques or things or mantras? How do you get by day to day in order to, get out of bed and still fight for what you want despite the generational tendencies that you have?
Well, I remember one of the first times that completely changed my life. So I remember growing up my whole life. I come from a very Central American family, like I said, very traditional. And my uncles, my aunts all lived literally down the street. We could walk to each other's houses. It was part of our exercise routine. We would all go walking into Tia, and we'd pick up one Tia and go around and walk to Walmart, walk
cute.
around and do that whole thing because, I was the bigger, chunkier girl. So we need to go exercise. And I remember walking into my uncle's house and my Tio would be like, "Hi, Tio, how are you?" "Ay, es que tú estás gorda, cipota. ¿Qué te pasó? ¿Por qué estás comiendo tanto? Mariana, ¿por qué tu hija está así?" And they talk very like, okay, hi, Tio. I just wanted to say hi. Why are you judging me? What the fuck, bro?
Story of my life.
And I remember that at that time, I think the last blowout, and I think it was literally the most life-changing event I've ever had, was when I was dating a Dominican guy. He now works for NASA. In Maryland. We both have chased our dreams individually, which is great because I feel in a weird way, influence each other.
Good.
Shout out to him. Lives in Maryland. He's been doing his thing. We have not talked in years, but I remember that we were together, and it was the first time I think ever in my whole entire life I actually felt loved, where I felt happy, where he didn't care what I looked like. He cared about me. He cared about my personality, my hard work, my passion, my dedication, what I wanted to do with my life. And it was really hard to be, while I was finally happy in my life, to have my parents attacking me with hey, you need to have weight loss surgery. Hey, you, and to hear these words from my mother's mouth really killed me for a long time. And it took me a minute to forgive her. And it was you're fat. You're never going to be beautiful. And it was her attempt at making me lose weight. Wow. It was her attempt at, I had already gone to LA Weight Loss, Jenny Craig, you name it. And I had been through all of it because I lived in a whitewashed world in Boca Raton where skinny was the thing.
Yep.
And even when I was skinny, and now I look at pictures and I'm yo, I was like a fucking stick compared to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And I thought I was fat. That just wasn't okay. And at 275, to finally feel like I was beautiful and loved and have my own mother tell me, "You're fat, you're never going to be beautiful," was the first time I ever felt like I said, "Fuck you" to anybody.
Yeah.
Including myself. Yo, fuck you. Get out of your own head. You're gorgeous.
Yeah.
You're gorgeous, whoever the fuck you are. You work hard. You have a house. You have this. You take care of yourself. You take care of everything you got around you. You work hard. You hustle.
Yeah.
So where is there less love for that? And it's funny because one of the people ask me all the time, yo, you've lost 120 pounds. I've just recently gained 30. Like, how has that process been for you? And the shittiest part about it is that I feel like everybody now treats me just like a piece of meat. It really fucking sucks because I know the intentions. I see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can't help but I will never forget the love of the man who loved me at where I was for who I was and have seen the right intentions from somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
To now being at a different position where people hit you up, they DM you, they come and hit you up because, oh, esa carita, or your eyes, or oh, you're so sexy, or oh, blah.
Right.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Right.
I'm a fucking human and I don't like to feel like a piece of meat. That's part of the reason why modeling has been such a difficult career for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I know there's substance. I know there's so much work that goes involved in that. So much. As a model, being out there, feeling that vulnerable, having to do that much work. It's physical work. It's mental work. There's so much to it.
Right.
And a lot of people don't see it. And I give that same respect for modeling, for DJing, and for acting, because even for acting, like people are like, "Oh, you're just gonna remember some lines and be on TV."
That is not acting.
Absolutely not. When you're acting, you gotta fall into a whole persona. You gotta become a whole nother person and survive that person.
Yeah. Yep.
Like even for DJs, like I give so much respect for DJs for the same reason. You got to remember BPMs at the same time as you got to talk to your friends and get drunk and be out there and do this and transition and have a good set so you don't look like shit.
Right. Right. Yes, it's really such a false. There's so many false connotations, and you're exactly right. It makes it so much harder to like exist and like love yourself, because what people are now responding to, like as you glow up and because like even for example myself, Skittles and I both have been like working out and focusing on our health. Look, I'm 28. I have motherfucking diabetes.
I need to start working out because I think it'll stop me from drinking, because I can't drink and work out,
girl. I do boxing. I can't even do regular shit. I go to boxing. Why? Because I
yoga.
Yeah,
like
and I do yoga there too.
I have a metal plate in my neck. I have back problems. Like yoga has been such a huge life aid. But like, let's be real. Yoga's expensive.
All the shit is expensive. Even my boxing, it's all expensive.
But people just think like, oh, we do this to be cute. No, this shit costs money. This shit literally it's like, okay, are we gonna go be and focus on our mental health and focus on our self-love, and give up on food or rent or priorities or bills? Like, it's really hard to have to pick and feel guilty about having to love yourself.
Yes. Yep. And then that's why it also kind of makes it like, like in the progression of like trying to be healthier. So like, in the past 2 years, I've lost 30 pounds and I'm still in a place where like, when I look in the mirror, I can't see that I lost a damn pound. Like not one. Like it literally, people treat you different.
Totally different. I've gained 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And people are like, damn, Jay, you lost so much weight. Yeah. Oh my God, you look thick in the right places. I'm like, it's because I've gained 30 pounds. Because my ass ain't depressed no more. Going through that separation depression and that divorce depression. I'm still going through a divorce battle. I've been going through a divorce battle for years now.
Yeah.
And it sucks to have to go through all that, and your body physically changes.
Yeah.
Your mental health physically changes. Your heart, your persona physically changes. So how do you maintain who you truly are through the hurt of what is now adulting? Adulting, because adulting means having kids, paying bills, being married, in a relationship, wanting to change your career, starting a new business, being an entrepreneur. All of that is included in all those realms.
Yep. And then you get people like applauding the shit out of you. And in a way too, like when you see certain people applauding it, it's like, yeah, I'm glad you're applauding it, but I wish you would have applauded who I was when I was who I was always. Or, hey, maybe I would have gotten to this point of self-love and success with more support that wasn't attached to an outcome that you get out of me. So it's like, oh, you know, you're skinnier now, and now, you know, now.
Well, that's why I
I'm
don't take my
on.
social media serious. Like realistically, like, I've been in this game for 12 years. 12 years.
Yeah.
I know the best of the best. I've worked with the best of the best, including Alex Sensation, and you name it, I've been there.
Right.
I'm not even at 20,000 followers.
Yeah. That shit's.
That's how real this shit is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm not out there chasing certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a part of my job and I have to maintain it.
Right.
But I'm not fixating my life. I've had people that used to be my interns that have had 4 years worth of better contracts than me.
Wow.
And I'm talking about thousands and thousands of dollars that I need as a single mother.
Yeah.
Because they're men, or because they're in their different game, or because they're different people. I haven't gotten that. I've not gotten one single radio contract in 12 years.
Jeez.
And I've worked with iHeart, Univision, La Mega, Cox Media Group, you name it. I've worked with the best companies, and I've been part-time 80% of the time.
Wow. Yeah, people.
And the times that I've been full-time has never been contracted. And I have people who have worked way down below me, but because they have a niche or a gimmick, or because they're men, they have surpassed me. I should have given up years ago.
Yeah.
And I haven't.
Yeah, and honestly, but like, and it sounds like even as you've been talking about your journey, though, the moments in which like your head pops back out and you're peaking and you're like getting things is tied to moments where you feel like you are closer to a certain level of happiness, or with yourself, like with yourself.
Oh yeah, self-love has 1,000%, and I think, I mean, I've seen you go through your highs and lows, Skittles, like literally. And like, I feel like in a weird sense, when we have that validation of bluntly, fuck everyone.
Yeah.
I'm doing this for me. And it really feels shitty to get to that point.
Yeah.
Though, because you don't want to tell your family and your friends, go fuck yourself.
Right.
You don't.
But sometimes you have
I remember I remember having a heart-to-heart with my cousin months ago at her children's 1-year-old birthday. And she was like, I'm mad at you. You think your Instagram friends are better than us. And I'm like, why do you think I'm home? Oh, because you got a bougie-ass radio job, and that's what your mom told us. I said, I came home because I just went through some domestic violence. And I literally had to throw up my flag because I wasn't doing anything but doing Lyft in New Jersey without my daughter and trying to heal.
Yeah.
But none of you take 1 second to ask me anything. You assume by what you see in that perspective of social media.
Yeah.
So how do I have to go walking around saying like, hey guys, like how my ass be like,
Yeah.
really?
You have to parade your what you're healing from.
Really?
Yeah.
Even with your own family. And I love them, and we go through it, and we learn through it, and we grow through it. And that's all I can ask for. But that doesn't mean the journey there isn't hard, because it's like a black cloud. Like, you're not allowed to talk. Like, at least for me, my Central American life, we're not allowed to talk about, like, hey, I'm going through a divorce.
Right.
I went through domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Big no.
He's cheating on me.
Big, those things, esos casos no se hablan. Esa cosa no se habla.
No,
Esa cosa
absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, like gasp. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know? And like for me, I've been the opposite. I'm like, yo, I'm talking about my domestic violence.
Yeah.
Yo, my ex-husband hates it, and that's good for him. He can hate all he
fuck
wants. He
him.
shouldn't have put me through it.
Right. Right.
But this is my way of healing, because it's not only healing for me, it's healing for my daughter. It's healing for other people that are dealing through it right now.
Absolutely.
That it cannot and do not feel like they have the voice to be strong enough to move forward. And I know what that feels like. And I know what it feels like to have to be an advocate and not be an advocate at the same time. How can I talk about it and not talk about it at the same time?
Okay. Yeah. It's a conundrum. It's a conundrum. I honestly, I think it's such a, first of all, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that where you've come is tremendous, and like that is enough. And I think that the word enough, we don't give it enough weight. Like when someone says, "Oh, that's enough," we don't like put it anyway. We're like, "Oh no, it's never enough. It's never enough."
No.
Sometimes enough is enough.
I literally am working 2 to 7, Monday through Friday. I have events every night after work. I try to rest before work every day. And then every weekend I have something to do. And I still feel, being in New York City without my daughter, having her in Florida with my parents, that I am every day not doing enough. Because I'm still struggling financially.
Right.
Because I still don't have furniture in my little trap house. I'm still sleeping in an air mattress or a mattress on the floor.
Yeah.
I've been sleeping on couches for the past 4 months trying to get back on my feet. I still have to figure out how to pay my car, my mortgage, her school, her bills, her clothes, her food. Help my parents out on top of that.
Yeah.
And then still pay my New York rent.
Which ain't cheap.
My food, my transportation. Come on.
Yeah. But the effort coming out of you, like that, it is enough. And it is always just a matter of time. And I hate that. I used to hate that phrase, a matter of time. I used to like, shove it up your ass, like a matter of time. Yo, it always is that.
Listen, there's one rule that I've been living through. This is like I feel like it's like my mantra. There's 2 things I learned when I started in radio. And shout out to Terry Alexander. He is an old school radio producer, executive. Like, he's amazing. And I haven't seen him in years. And he taught me one of these things when I first started in radio as an intern in promotions. And he told me, he goes, the best way to move up is to move out.
Mm-hmm.
And out of your comfort zone. That's why I tell everybody, the worst that could happen to me right now is I took a chance moving to New York, and the worst that could happen is I'm going to go home to my beautiful 2-bedroom condo on the fucking lakefront in Florida with my house and my car and my parents 10 minutes from my crib. The worst that can happen, I'm going to go live a regular schmegular
life.
job.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's the worst that can happen.
Yeah.
And realistically, that's what a lot of these people have been doing nowadays. Is it what I'd be okay with? Absolutely not.
Right.
But it's the worst.
Yeah.
If that's the worst,
I'm good.
which is what led to rule number 2. And this is literally, I live by this. I don't have any tattoos. And I think if I did get a tattoo, it's probably, other than my daughter's lips on my body, it'd probably be this. Because I literally it was life-changing for me when I heard him say this. Temporary inconvenience for permanent improvement.
I like that. Temporary inconvenience for permanent improvement.
Yeah, I love that.
And I share this all the time, especially with people that share with me their struggles. I'm like, yo, temporary inconvenience for permanent improvement. You got to temporarily struggle to go through what you need to do so you could permanently get to where you need to be. And it's not easy. It's not fucking easy. It really sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's the reality. It's a temporary inconvenience.
Yeah.
For you to permanently get to where you need to be, whether that's with your family, your relationship, your kids, your career, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. Yeah. So if there was one piece of advice that you would give to anyone who's struggling with anything, right? Any number of things, who are fighting in their self-love journey or having a hard time, what's a piece of advice that you would give them?
Temporary inconvenience for permanent improvement. And the one thing that has been the biggest issue for me, which has been patience. Patience and enjoy the journey. Because that goes hand in hand. Because if you don't have patience, you're only getting from the start to the finish.
Right.
So if you need to have patience, enjoy the journey while you're having the patience. And that's literally what I'm doing now. We were talking about this earlier on the walk.
Yeah.
That I was like, yo, for the first time ever, like, you know, I've been in this game for 12 years. So 3 months into being back in my role in New York, it's not like I haven't been in New York. It's not like I haven't worked for the same company. It's not like I haven't done New York radio. But I'm already like, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Like, where's my next, like, I want endorsements. I want TV spots. Like, I want TV time. Like, where's my next, like, where's my modeling? Like, where, like, the Latina in me wants it all now.
Yeah. No te deja. No te deja. Te
But
pica.
what's happened, that being now in my 30s, I've learned that when I look back, I'm like, damn, I've had some really, really great times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what? I never enjoyed them because I was too busy trying to get to, like, who do I need to meet? Where do I need to go? What's the finish line? Where is all this? That I haven't enjoyed the journey. So I think now that I'm in a certain place in my life, like, I actually want to enjoy the journey. I don't want to feel guilty. I don't want to feel like I'm fucking up. I don't want to feel that even generational guilt. Where it's like, I'm going out on a Tuesday. Like, even that stupidity is a guilt for us.
Yeah.
You're going out during the week. How could you do that?
Right.
We only go out on weekends. During the week, you got to behave and cook and clean and be inside your house and work. And you have a 9 to 5 and cállate. But reality is, we're creatives.
We lit 24/7.
That is not actually, our Monday through Fridays are a little bit busier than our own weekend.
That's right. Yeah.
Let's be real. But guess what? Our families, our aunts, our uncles, our cousins, our primos, our tias and tios don't understand that.
Yeah. Different world up here. Different world.
It's a totally different world.
Yeah.
So it's like finding that middle balance of trying to
Everything.
put all those worlds together.
Skittles, you got a piece of advice?
Girl,
Skittles is processing.
I've
today.
literally been
This
just
is
like
the
listening.
quietest I've ever heard you. It was either the proper 12
Right.
or the knowledge. And I'm just going to go with the knowledge so I can make myself feel
No,
better.
he's digesting every word you're saying.
I feel like there are so many points that you've made during your talking that I've connected with, and that's why I feel like I don't need to interrupt it with like any of my input, because I feel like it's important for you to get that out. Oh my God. It was advice for...
Yeah, any self-love advice.
Oh my goodness. I feel like, so for me, I feel like self-love is always like an evolution for me. I feel like it's been this, when we talk about self-love and the journey, it's full of highs and lows, and you're always evolving and things are always changing as time goes on. So it's hard for me to really say that there's like one solid piece of advice that I can give. But
what's made it easier?
I think what's made it easier is...
Or at least more... Okay, so let's switch it up. Because
Yeah.
easier is one thing. There's a lot of things that make things easier. Alcohol
Makes things
things easier. Drugs make things easier. Being around enablers makes things easier.
way
Yeah.
easier.
So what makes you...
Okay,
what makes you feel...
I got it. You
what
said it,
makes
you
you
said
feel
it.
less... What makes you feel less guilty about having self-love?
I think you kind of just literally just touched upon it, is literally making sure that I surround myself with people who believe in the journey, who believe in the...
That's super
who
important.
believe in the evolution, who believe
Super
in
important.
you, because whenever like you're at your lowest, those are the people that are gonna bring
And
you
it's
back
funny
up.
because when you're at your lowest, you attract and disattract the people that are needed and not needed in your life. And I literally had to go through that with my separation and leaving my marriage. I literally lost everybody who I thought were my closest,
right.
my sister, like my family, like I lost my family. And it was so hard to go from zero almost again.
Right.
And not know who to trust. You know, and I think it's super important. But I feel like the more you love yourself,
Yeah.
the more you attract
Absolutely.
the absolute people you need in your life. Like I have now, in the last 3 or 4 months, have never in my life, and it includes you guys, because we've been talking for a couple months
Right,
now,
yeah.
just on different between
Yeah.
tragos and
Yeah.
different events and different simulations. But it's like a weird attraction magnet to how when your energy is good, when you love, even if you don't love yourself fully, you don't have
Right.
to love yourself.
Right, 'cause that's an
1,000%.
everlasting journey.
And nobody ever does. That journey takes forever. But the minute you finally say, I'm putting me first, it's like the universe, the spirits, God, whatever you decide to believe in, legit brings anything and everything to you. I was in Florida for 5 months, never thinking I'd come back to New York ever again. I had given up on my journey here. And I got, hey, we got a morning show. You sure you don't want to do the more show? You said no 4 times? Cool. How about afternoons? Ma'am, are you coming? And I had to look at my paycheck. I had to look at my situation. I had to look at my daughter. I had to review. I had to go back and be like, yo, what do I do? Do I leave my daughter and chase our dreams? But then again, this is what the same thing our parents used to do, what our grandparents did.
Hello.
So why is this not the new version of the American dream?
Hello.
Yeah. It's so funny that this is your story, because for me, I'm kind of going through a very similar situation where, like, for 5 years I had like a full-time, like, salaried music
Teaching
teacher
job,
position. But the voice in my head was saying, you don't want to do this. This isn't where you want to be. This isn't that, you shouldn't be in this position. And for 5 years, I fought that voice, and I tried to do my best at that job. And
Safety is a bitch. Let me
at some
tell
point, I
you
literally,
that guilt of having to feel security.
Yes.
Especially in our culture, security work-wise, security financially, security home-wise.
Yeah,
Yes.
and to get to the point where you were finally going to be like, I'm going to leave this situation because it's unhealthy for me, and I need to do what's going to make me happy. And it was one of the craziest... It was one of the craziest, hardest decisions I've ever made.
One of the biggest acts of self-love.
I remember when my dad...
And most important.
I used to be a preschool teacher and a nanny. So when I started nannying, the lady that I was nannying for, rich white lady
woman
from Boca, her daughter was Italian and Dominican, but her daughter did not know her Dominican side. So as a Latina, I was the one who showed her how to show herself what self-love for her body, for her curves, for her situation. Especially back then, I was 275. So of course I was like, no,
Right.
and I started working her when she was 4.
Wow.
And now, like the last time I saw her, she met my 5-year-old daughter.
Wow. Wow.
And we met at Disney, one of my favorite places in the fucking planet.
Me too.
And it's hard when you hear these kids say like, hey, I want you to be proud of me. I'm 30 days sober. I'm going through rehab and she's 18. It's hard going through these situations when you know that these kids are dealing with so much pain and hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like for you to have to like, again, grow up and have to say like, yo, what is my self-love? Like, what is my own value?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the journey, man. And I think that's why, and thank you all both for sharing all of that. Like, I think that is why when people say that, oh, we're our ancestors' wildest dreams, self-love and an act of self-love, if that is all I can teach the generation after me, my nieces, whatever, if I ever have kids, that, because it is
actually, now that you literally just said that, a thought that had occurred to me earlier in the conversation, but we weren't in this section, and I wanted to make sure that I was saying it here, was like one of the ways that we as the younger generations to our older generations are teaching is by simply existing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, hard body, like being someone who's like, gay, playing with gender roles, you know, coming from a super traditional Catholic Puerto Rican background, like
I was an altar server
You know?
until I was 18 years old. I got
Girl.
kicked out. I got kicked out by my own godparents.
Wow.
My padrinos were like, "You're a master of ceremony. You need to leave. You're
Yeah.
too old for this."
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it was really hard to have to like, okay, so where the fuck do I fit in? Like, I don't know where to fit in anymore.
But I
and even
think-
for me, like, you know what you're saying, like, it was hard because my mom didn't accept, like, and I love my mother, and this is like such a hard topic for me to talk about because I don't ever want her to look bad.
Right.
But I think, and this is a conversation her and I have had, she just didn't know any better.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
we come from in El Salvador, there just aren't black people. There's gray, there's indios, there's indigenous,
Right.
but there's no black. Where in Costa Rica, it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, mad black.
Yeah.
We go to Limon and it's black.
Right.
You go to near Panama, it's black.
Yeah.
Like, so for me, growing up in that weird space where my mom didn't understand my dad and our cultures didn't mix, but they were so close to each other, it was just very confusing going through all of that and knowing what I could and could not date, who I could and could not be. And I think for me, I grew up in a lot of boundaries.
Yeah.
I grew up with like, okay, this is what you do. You become an altar server. You do your first communion. You get your baptism. You do your confirmation, then you get married, and then it's very traditional,
It's the ritual.
and that's just not. But I always felt the untraditionalist because I was the first female altar server. Like, I remember the guy who did my quince was Padre Alberto Coutier, who was the same one that did Celia Cruz's wedding and the same one who got caught on South Beach with some girl making a baby. Like, so, like, you already know, like, I did not grow up normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would get recognized in Costa Rica for being on international TV, for being an altar server, not for being a model, a TV personality, a radio personality, but for being a girl dressed in a red gown before men, where that was not a tradition in the Catholic Church. So it's like, I feel like my whole life I've been fighting boundaries, whether it's with weight, whether it's with gender, whether it's with religion, whatever it is. I feel like that's just what my whole life has been.
Right.
And it's hard because a lot of, like, I think this is one of the first times ever in my life I've been able to share this much and feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
And to that point of literally you are like, just by simply existing, you are educating and you are, pushing forward the boundaries of
everything, of the conventions.
Everything, of everything that has been
It's like
taught
the
before.
Latino elevation.
Yes.
I think that's what we should call
Yes,
it now.
Latino elevation. No, and like on that note, like really, again, thank you so much for sharing all of that. And I think that how you speak is radical. I think, like Juan is saying, your existence is radical. I am so happy to know that your daughter has a mother like you to look up to. And I'm so glad that the people who watch you, whether they're watching you because they're haters or they're watching you because they're supporting you, what you are doing is radical and it's brave and you're so fearless. And I'm so happy you were with us today. Thank you so much.
And I want to thank you guys because shows and people like you guys, like, I'm very, again, because of my traditions, we're very protective of like how we can talk, where we can talk, what we can say. So to have outlets like this and people like you guys that make me want to continue, like, feel comfortable to break that mold, to feel comfortable to have those conversations, I think is very important.
Yes.
And I really do appreciate you guys, like more than beyond belief. And
thank you.
like, I'm so proud of you guys. And
proud of you.
Congratulations with what's coming for 2020.
We coming. We coming for ya. We coming for ya. All right. JAYLAH, any all right. Go ahead.
No shot taken yet.
All right.
Damn.
Stay over there with your little
Dying
germs.
already.
So JAYLAH, tell us, where can we find you? Tell us your show times, any shout outs you have.
Man, just shout out to all the Latinos, all the Latino exes, all my Latinas who feel like I do and like we do.
Yes.
Fighting through adversity and feeling like we can't and feeling like, you know what, dreams are going to be made true. Like the American dream is our dream. It is whatever we make it.
Yes.
So stop going to feel your parents' traditions. Stop trying to feel like you got to succeed to everybody's other roles. Whatever you want your American dream, your Latina dream to be, you can do that.
Yes.
And I've seen so many of my own fellow women create that, and it's a beautiful thing. You can follow me on Instagram at I am JAYLAH, IAMJAYLAH. You already know. And man, just let's keep hustling.
Yes,
man. Let's just keep breaking cycles and creating better futures and trust funds for our babies.
Trust funds.
Listen, I love my Jewish community. Like my mom makes a badass matzo ball soup.
Hey.
Like I grew up with a lot of Jewish friends. Like I'm all for it, but I want some of them trust funds too, babe.
Trust fund, baby.
So we need to create trust funds for our babies. Yo, let's do this.
Absolutely. Skittles, where can they find us?
Well, you guys can all find us on Ladies Who Brunch on Instagram. You can also find us on Ladies Brunch on Twitter. And also give our YouTube channel a fucking love at Ladies Who Brunch on YouTube too.
A little.
And then you can listen to all our episodes on all your favorite streaming platforms.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for tuning in this week, guys. And until next time, bronche. Bronche, bronche. That's how we say brunch.
Here's to the ladies who stay busy with their lunch.
You want that bochinche?
Páquete con pinche. You hear what they said?
Not too busy, glasses clinking.
Aquí en esta mesa se respeta como ñón.
Si la copa está llena, yo te doy la bendición.
So what if we get ratchet?
We from the Bronx.
That's it.
Don't get it twisted.
We be going to Manhattan. Be a
Be
queen.
a boss.
Ladies who brunch are popping off.
Hey, we pop.